Instant, unfiltered reaction to the Sixers' Game 3 loss to the New York Knicks. Game 4 loss to the New York Knicks as they go down 3-1. We'll have to see what they do Tuesday up at Madison Square Garden. This is the Sixers Talk podcast brought to you by Wilmington University. Wilmview Works, Danny Palmel's, Ben Barry. It just ended. The Sixers fall, I don't even know if I can say at home, with the amount of New York Knicks fans that were booing Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, MVP chants for Jalen Brunson while he was on the line. A little frustrating to see them go down like this. Embarrassing, borderline embarrassing, not with the way they played necessarily, although that was not good, but more or less with the way that the Knicks kind of imposed their will on the Sixers here. It was a 10-point game after the first quarter, and it didn't get much better for the 76ers as they fall and are on the brink of elimination here in the first round. Ben, what stood out to you, man? A tough way to go out, especially with the way the game ended, because the basketball IQ play was made by Kyle Lowry to miss the second free throw with them down 3, but no one else realized it on the team, and the ball just went to the Knicks as they celebrate.
Let's start off there. A couple of things, but yeah, let's start off there at the end of the game. It's a high IQ play, but you have to communicate. And I know from where I'm at and the people I was talking to throughout the game, they thought Maxi needs to be on top of that. But if you watch it, Oubre was back there too, and it didn't seem like he knew what was going on either.
So what, they just gave up? Like, what they expect to do?
I just don't think it was communicated like, hey, I'm going to miss this shot. Embiid and was it Batum or Harris down there? I can't remember off the top of my head. But they were fighting for the rebound, but it just didn't seem like there was any communication like, hey, we have to get this rebound. Because even if you look at the replay, after the ball goes up in the air, after it leaves Kyle Lowry's hand, Maxi's feet is starting to go down court. He's starting to back up to go on defense. So there was a clear miscommunication on what was supposed to happen right there. And I'm not
that's pretty sus. That's pretty sus to me.
I won't put that all on Maxi or Lowry.
Coach's son. He is a coach's son now. Come on.
No, I hear you. To me, that falls on everybody. And that's not even trying to be nice about it. That's on the coach down. It should have been discussed. And Lowry, coach's son, he's been in the league for 18 years at this point.
No, I'm saying Maxi's a coach's son.
Oh, Maxi, coach's son. But Lowry, Maxi, coach's son. Lowry, 18-year vet. This needs to be communicated. So it falls on everyone out there on the court. Because if half the people know, it would have been one thing if it was only Maxi that didn't realize it was happening, but it was two guys, so clearly wasn't clearly communicated.
It wasn't. That doesn't make me feel any better about it, because it's like,
it's not gonna make me feel better.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, what else you expect them to do? Like, it's like 5 seconds left. Something's got to happen. Like, you either make the free throw and you're up 2 points, or you try to get the ball back with 1 possession game and try to tie it up. But it just goes to show, like, Lowry's head was clearly in the game, because he gave the Sixers 2 extra possessions with his shenanigans, like causing the foul on OG Anunoby.
Yep.
Oh, and he had that fast break moment when he knocked the ball off of Josh Hart's face or Jalen Brunson's face. I forget who was on that outlet, but his head was clearly in the game, because he was causing all types of weird Lowry-esque moments to appear where the Sixers got extra possessions that they probably shouldn't have gotten. But it's hard to wear this one, particularly with the way the Knicks fans are rubbing it in our faces. And
so let's talk about that. About that. The Knicks fans taking over the Wells Fargo Center, booing Embiid, chanting MVP for Brunson. Like, it's not a great look. But as I was talking to a friend who's a Knicks fan from Brooklyn, and this isn't making an excuse. I think this is just what it is. With tickets being resold, I think a lot of Knicks fans, like, it's cheaper to go down to Philly even with traffic.
I get that. This is a playoff game, though. This is a
playoff
game.
So that falls on us for the Knicks to be in there that deep, for their fan base to be in there that deep.
Hell yeah, it falls on us. But on the flip side, Sixers fans have taken over the Barclays Center several times. The rights to Ricky Sanchez guys, they have like whole groups of fans sticking around after the game to greet the players and the whole 9 yards. That's happened with Nationals games for sure. It's happened with Mets games. It's happened. Several teams in this immediate corridor have been taken over by Philadelphia sports fans. Nationals games as well. But this is a playoff game, man. Playoff game. You can't just allow it to be so neutral that when the Knicks are doing something well, is a big, loud, rousing applause, and when the Sixers do something well, there's a loud, resounding boo echoing through the arena. So I couldn't figure it out. It definitely, you as a Philadelphia sports fan, you lose a couple of stripes for sure. Not necessarily, I'm saying the people who were in the arena or the people who sold the tickets or any of that stuff. I'm saying all of us, we all lose some stripes, because your team has their back against the wall like the Sixers did here to try to tie the series up and not go down and get gentleman sweep up in New York. Then we got to show up, and that accounts for us cheering them on, paying and buying tickets, supporting by watching at home. However you support, you got to show up, and Philadelphia didn't show up at all.
Maybe, but I don't want to put this on the fans. The team, whether more people would have bought tickets, doesn't excuse some of the play, that fourth quarter, the missed foul shot and the bad communication.
I thought they were out of gas, man.
Yeah, but the Knicks look out of gas too. Like Brunson went off in that third quarter, then he started missing shots short because it was clear their legs weren't under. Tibbs only played 7 players because Bojan played less than a minute. But Embiid he did that reverse layup. He had the open mid-range, and he took it to the basket. I need you to throw it down not that reverse layup. Throw it down.
Didn't have the explosion, man. Didn't look like he had the.
That I don't want to hear that excuse. You got to throw it down. And Princess Achua played I probably butchered his name. He played the 5 for the whole fourth quarter for the Knicks, and it is after getting Hartenstein in foul trouble. Embiid take over like this small guy is on you. I know you might be winded, but man.
Yeah, I feel you, because that possession, it felt like Embiid was hoping the referees would bail him out. Like he's hunting for the foul there. Like he's like, all right, if I shoot this wide open jumper, there's a chance I might miss it, although he's very automatic from that spot. But he goes to the basket trying to, split the difference, and he was probably thinking either I'm going to convert the basket or get the foul. He got hit, it seemed like a little bit, but the referees kind of swallowed the whistle. And yeah, I feel you on the explode to the basket, kind of leave no doubt, because if he tries to dunk it and they try to contest it, there's probably 1,000% chance that they hit his arm or something happens there. But I don't think like you said, they could have sat Embiid in the third quarter. He didn't have to play as much in the second half that he did up until that point. Like there was a moment when Hartenstein was in foul trouble and Brunson wasn't in the game at the start of the third quarter. He missed like the first 2.5, 3 minutes that Embiid could have been sitting down, but he was out there on the court. So you make a good point there that he was just out of gas, man.
Yeah, out of gas, and it was times where it just seemed like no one wanted to shoot the ball. It was that Embiid shot was blocked, but he got it with less than 2 seconds, where they just played hot potato at the top of the key. Nobody wanted to put the ball up. And it was just overall frustrating game to watch, especially since – you said what?
Well, I was going to add to your point. I think that whole no one wanted to shoot the ball. Like Maxi no one really played well. No one was like Jalen Brunson went crazy like Embiid did in game 3. But no one on the Sixers met him at that level. The shooting percentages were off. They barely got bench contribution, and that was from Kelly Oubre. I think he ended up 7 for 15. But Maxi, they had Josh Hart kind of guarding him like in his shorts, and that didn't allow him to get into an early rhythm, and he never quite picked up any rhythm. He had that step back three that was really pretty that I thought would kind of get him going in the first half, but he never quite caught his rhythm, and that is credit to the Knicks because I feel like their game plan was to be like, listen, Embiid isn't 100%. Their second best player, Maxi, if he starts getting in a rhythm, that's what's going to ignite them. And they made a point to try to force Embiid to be the one to carry the weight. And it paid off late in the game because he wasn't able to rise to the occasion, literally wasn't able to rise to the occasion. I'm pretty proud of that pun right there. That you can comment on that. You like it. You like it.
I'm going to. It was a good pun. I think my thing with puns, I'm not good at it, so I usually just ignore.
So now you gonna shame my pun?
I'm not shaming it. I was just going to ignore it because I didn't want to come across as a hater.
He said I was just going to ignore it. Okay, go ahead. Let's move on.
No, it's not shade. I just didn't want to hate. I'm not good at puns, so I was going to just keep it moving. If you good at threes, don't mean I need to go out there and start shooting threes. Yo, I know my role and I stick to it.
You could appreciate me shooting threes, though. But
yeah, I can appreciate it, but like I know my role. I'm gonna just stick to my role.
Do you know
which I wish some Sixers players could do their role well?
Do you know your point you were about to make? Like you were about to say something, and I kind of cut you off.
I don't remember what my point was going.
All right, well, you know what? I feel like it's a good moment to pay some bills, take a break, show some love to our sponsors. Because we are proudly brought to you by Wilmington University. Get to know Wilmington University online or in person at its open house on Wednesday, May 1st. Details at wilmu.edu/open house. Celebrity cook Steve Martirano brings his Italian-American cooking back home to Philly. Enjoy Martirano's Prime at Rivers Casino and Steve's famous meatballs with Sunday gravy, prime steaks, and more. Make reservations for Martirano's Prime on Open Table. Back here on the Sixers Talk podcast, there was a moment where Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo were probably had 1 point between them. Like they were playing awful. Only thing the Knicks had going for them was Jalen Brunson and their hustle plays. But Dante DiVincenzo hit a couple threes, and they were able to get a couple extra possessions. A couple of OG Anunoby came through for them. The Sixers never quite had anything outside of Kelly Oubre. Tobias Harris, it looked like we might be getting a Tobias game. He finally shows up when it matters for the 76ers. And Oubre hit a couple of timely threes, and he had the kiss to the crowd, and he had the one that kind of bounced in and bounced out and bounced back in. But outside of that, the Sixers didn't have any of that bench, the others get involved, like someone, change the momentum.
Campaign had a nice stretch.
He did, where he got that block on Brunson and he hit that 1-3, but you need more than that. Like the Sixers had their backs against the wall, and as indicative of that moment where Kyle Lowry misses the free throw, and they're kind of asleep at the wheel a little bit. It's just those little moments where it could have changed how the outcome turned out. It just didn't quite happen for the 76ers, where the Knicks did have those moments, like Brunson hitting that big shot over Embiid when he closed out on him on a mid-range fadeaway. And like some of those little things went the Knicks' way that didn't go the Sixers' way. Some of it was hustle. Some of it was second chance points and offensive rebounding, which they're great at. Others was just like y'all might as well have been on the bench with Buddy Hield. Like Paul Reed, you might as well have been sitting there with Buddy Hield. You ain't. What difference have you made?
No, I completely hear you on that. And it's something we've talked about before. I said if Embiid and Maxi both give you 25-30, if someone else can just chip in with 10 or 15. Tobias got you 10. Oubre had a decent game. But, like you mentioned Dante and Josh Hart having 1 point between them. Even if they're not shooting well, like their hustle plays, like it might not show up on the stat sheet, but when you're watching, Josh Hart impacts the game even if he's not scoring. He
And
has
Batum was
51
doing some of that at one point. I felt like Batum was impacting the game in those hustle ways.
He was impacting the game, but when he got his dunk stuff, it might have took all that away as well.
Bro, especially for a player that what is he in year 16? Like it looked like a cartoon. The way the ball came back down to him and he threw it backwards while he was on the ground. It was like, oh man, that was not a good look.
Cartoon, it looked like it was out of a movie. Danny is a father, if y'all don't know. He has a son, Julius, and the last time I saw him said he was a better basketball player. I imagine your son testing you outside on the court.
You try to do that? You try.
And you'd be like, yo, you might be younger, but no easy baskets in here. You're going to just shut that down.
Right, exactly.
Like, my pops is in his late 50s. If I ever thought about going up on a dunk, I'm probably getting an elbow to the ribs. But, like, so it just looked bad on Batum's case.
Hart came with the mean mug out. Like, get that out of here. Like I was like, oh, man. Like, yeah, that was a bad look. And you know, we can't forget Isaiah Hartenstein in foul trouble. No Mitchell Robinson. And then Batum injures Bogdanovich. Bojan Bogdanovich somehow, so they lose him as well. So what else do the Sixers need? Like it was all set up for them to seize the moment and realize the opportunity. But I want to talk about a play that I think people are going to talk about. Well, a couple of plays actually. Sorry, my allergies annoying me, but a couple of plays in the first half. Bang bang play under the basket. Josh Hart's laying on the ground, and Embiid was playing defense, backpedaling across the baseline, and he steps on Josh Hart's leg while he's backpedaling. But if you look at it from one of the angles they've replayed during the game, it looks like he steps twice down on his leg, as if like, you know, like, oh, that's Josh Hart. Let me make sure I get it good type of thing. Or that it was a New York Knick, or who I can't say because it was Hart, but it was the enemy's down there. Let me make sure that they know that, you know, feel this. And I feel like that was the same thing that happened when Embiid and Brunson got into it in the second half, when Embiid hit him with the little forearm shiver when Kyle Lowry got elbowed by Josh Hart, which ended up being an offensive foul. And Brunson and Embiid got into it, you know, talking about afterward. That maybe ignited Hart even more to be upset and start going crazy against the Sixers. But what do you make of those two plays? Embiid's interactions in the past, obviously with Mitchell Robinson in the last game, he's laying on the ground and grabs him as he's trying to jump up and says that, you know, he didn't want Robinson to land on him. Borderline stuff to you? You feel like there's some validity there? What do you think?
So the only one, the Mitchell Robinson play, I don't think Embiid's a dirty player, but I do think that was a dirty play. That could have been like really bad, really catastrophic. And I think the Sixers dodged the bullet.
It was in some ways. The dude missed all of that game and all of this game. I don't know if he'll be back for game 4, but very good point, though. I feel
I think the Sixers dodged a bullet that Embiid didn't get ejected. Embiid dodged the bullet on that. Like, if he would have got ejected for that, I wouldn't have had an argument against it. We had that conversation last podcast about it. I think you landed the same place I did on that. This game, in game 4, the Josh Hart thing, and the national broadcast said that at first it was just an accident, but when they went back to the replay, they said, oh, like you could make an argument that it was on purpose. I didn't think that at all. I did see the 2 steps. The first one, it looked like he was coming down, felt something, and your foot come back up. Like when you're walking and you take a back step, you feel something under you, and you pop up again quickly. And as he did that to readjust, that's when his foot came down on Hart. But Embiid's reaction looked genuine to me, like, oh, snap, I didn't realize you were under me. So that's why I didn't think it was a dirty play. Similar to the reaction, similar to Caleb Martin and the Jason Tatum play from game 1, I think, in that series. The reaction to me says, hey, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm concerned. Because usually if it's a goon play, guys walk away or they be like, "Oh, what I do? I ain't doing anything." And it seemed like a genuine, like, "Oh, my bad. I don't want this to escalate. My bad."
Mm-hmm.
The little forearm, the Jalen Brunson.
Right.
I know that isn't legal anymore in the NBA. The refs didn't call it down. I will say this. I don't think Brunson scored before that play, and that could clearly lit a match under him, set a fire underneath his butt, because he turned it on after that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think of those Embiid plays.
Okay. So I like how you compartmentalize each of them instead of taking them in totality, because that's what New York Knicks fans are probably doing. They're like, "Oh, you saw this play and you saw that play. Oh, and Embiid kicked Isaiah Hartenstein in the groin." Yeah, when you put them all together, it's like, oh, wait a minute, like this dude, like on a Draymond run, but
yeah, it'd be different if he had like a history and the plays we discussed, the Hartenstein play before the Mitchell Robinson pull down play. Only thing I can really think of from Embiid's career is the elbow to Jarrett Allen in the playoffs. What was that, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I can think of, a play that would be dirty, calls for an ejection, and he got ejected for that play. The elbow. I don't know if you remember that play.
I do remember that.
So it's not like he has a reputation or this long history.
I mean, Hartenstein. Jared Allen was with the Nets. I do remember that. Yeah.
There's the Jared Dudley series.
It's funny. Yeah. So one by one, it's like you can reason your way out of it. You hate to look at them in totality like that. On the flip side, this is a dude, and we obviously see it here in so many ways, that Joel Embiid gets beat up all the time. I mean, we talk about how other teams have roughed him up, and I mean, the Toronto Raptors broke his face, when he had the orbital bone, had to wear the mask and all that stuff. But it's tough to have a game like that, see the Sixers perform the way they did, and then go into Game 5 Tuesday, Madison Square Garden, with their playoff lives on the line. It's just the first round. Predictions and what we thought might happen are out the window, because I didn't think the Knicks were going to win this series. But do you feel like the Sixers can win Game 5, force a Game 6? Will this be a 7-game series? Can they win 3 in a row? What are you thinking?
I think they can force a Game 6, winning 3 in a row. Let's start off with Game 6. I think they can win Game 5 in New York. Every game has been close. None of these games have been blowouts. That's one thing that gives me hope. I don't see Jalen Brunson.
Game 6, even if they get there, it's still going to be 50-50 on the fans. Like, it's going to be half New York, half Philly crowd.
So, yeah, no, that's legit. Jalen Brunson has gone off these last 2 games very well. Good games, something that the Knicks haven't done yet, which would give me a cause for concern. Jalen Brunson and supporting characters have a solid game through and through. Those first 2 games they won, the Knicks won, Jalen Brunson really struggled.
Well, right?
Yeah, he really struggled. Game 3, he turned it on. They lost. He played out of his mind today. He looked like the best player on the planet. Like, if I was a new basketball fan and just watched for the first time, I'd be like, yo, is this dude, like, he's that dude. Like, that's how well he played. So if the Sixers can keep the supporting cast from turning it on like they did in Game 3, that would help a lot if they can contain Jalen Brunson as well. But Embiid has to take over down the stretch again. It has to be like Game 3. It can't be like it was today. It has to be better communication and just hustle plays. The Sixers cannot continue to be out hustled. That's what they need to do to force a Game 6.
I almost don't know if they have that club in their bag, because the Knicks just bring their lunch pail and hard hat to every situation, every 50-50 ball. It just seems like the Sixers are getting out hustled and outplayed there. But to your point about the others for the Knicks, like, how healthy will those others be? I doubt if they'll have Mitchell Robinson. I don't know what the deal is with Bogdanovich, and Hartenstein being their true only big man besides Achua, it just makes me feel like the Sixers might have some advantages there. But again, we gotta wait and see how it plays out. Hopefully, I was excited. I thought when DeAnthony Melton checked in that would be like the thing that would swing the tide the Sixers' direction, but that didn't work out in their favor. Tough, man. Tough to be suffering through another one of these difficult first round series or just difficult series at all with the Sixers with a bit of lowered expectations. But it is a 2-7 matchup, so no guarantees on the Sixers end. But we will be here with you every step of the way, regardless of what happens. We'll see you Tuesday. The two of us, me and Ben, doing it again. We appreciate you listening and watching to the Sixers Talk podcast brought to you by Wilmington University. Check out Noah Levick's work on NBC Sports Philadelphia.com. For Ben, I'm Danny. We'll see you next time.